I'm not married or divorced, but I probably would get a prenup regardless. This is The Rich Life. I'm your host, Michaela, and today I'll be telling you the top 10 celebrities who should have gotten a prenup. And make sure to hit that subscribe button if you aren't already, because it really helps us out. But now let's get started. Number 10, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. In perhaps the messiest divorce in recent memory, Johnny Depp and ex-wife Amber Heard fought it out in court in a $100 million defamation case. Since the couple did not sign a prenup agreement, a bitter divorce battle ensued, leading to almost a year of proceedings to figure out the assets between them. Depp filed a lawsuit against Heard in March 2019, alleging that a 2018 op-ed she wrote for the Washington Post implied that he was domestically abusing her during the time of their relationship. Depp claimed the article irreparably damaged his career. In January 2021, Heard countersued Depp for $100 million. A few months after her motion to move the case to California was denied. Depp and Heard met in 2009 on the set of their movie The Rum Diary, and began dating in early 2012. In 2015, the pair married in a private ceremony in their home in LA. However, by 2016, Heard had filed for divorce and accused Depp of physically abusing her during the relationship, usually while under the influence of substances. Depp denied the claims, and the pair later released a joint statement saying there was never any intent of physical or emotional harm. Heard received $7 million from a divorce settlement, but donated it to a children's hospital, according to People. Depp asserts that he was never physically violent towards Heard, but rather that she was abusive and violent to him. Number 9, Reese Witherspoon and Ryan Felipe. Breadwinner Reese Witherspoon was ranking in $20 million per movie at the time the couple decided to call it quits in 2005, after 7 years of marriage. Ryan Felipe, on the other hand, was making about $2.5 million. According to California law, the splitting pair had to divide their assets 50-50 in their divorce, although Witherspoon took quite a hit. She continued to stay in blockbuster movies like Four Christmases and Water for Elephants, undoubtedly making a fair share of her wealth back, and then some. She went on to marry agent Jim Toth in 2011. When rumors of a second marriage prenup began circling, an extra insider, Rob Shutter, shot them down. Friends tell me if she felt she needed a prenup, he wasn't going to be the man for her. Number 8, Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey. It was a match made in reality TV heaven. Two pop stars in love, and starring in their own TV show Newlyweds, that documented the highs and lows of young marriage. When Jessica tied the knot with Nick in 2002 at age 22, getting a divorce wasn't on her mind. In fact, she turned down the chance to have a prenup, even though Nick suggested signing one. Now looking back, Jessica says she wishes she had gone through with the prenup. I wish I would have signed the prenup. The funny thing is that Nick wanted me to sign a prenup and I was so offended. I was like, but we're going to be together for the rest of our lives, Jessica said on an episode of The Dr. Oz Show. When the two did get married, however, they probably thought they had similar earning potential. But 3 years later, when the divorce was filed, the couple learned differently. At the end of their marriage, Simpson was worth an estimated $35 million. Simpson's father offered Lachey $1.5 million, which was chump change compared to what he was entitled to. Nick ended up ultimately walking away with more money, but a considerable amount less than half of what Simpson earned during their marriage. Number 7, Jennifer Lopez and Chris Judd. In 2002, after a measly 9 months of marriage, successful singer-actress Jennifer Lopez divorced her backup dancer Chris Judd. Lopez not only failed to sign a prenup, she reportedly threw $15 million at Judd in order to buy his silence and allow her to begin her budding relationship with her co-star Ben Affleck. And with her and Ben's on and off relationship, they now finally seem happy, so I guess it all worked out in the end. Number 6, Roseanne Barr and Tom Arnold. Successful comedian Roseanne Barr gave her attorney the axe for even suggesting that she would sign a prenup with actor Tom Arnold, who worked as a writer on Barr's sitcom Roseanne. The pair married in 1990, and their union lasted only 4 years. Arnold later walked away with a reported $50 million. Oh, and a permanent reminder of his time with Barr, a photo of her tattooed on his chest. Number 5, Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell. Dax and Kristen decided against signing a prenup when they tied the knot in 2013, but so far it's worked out for them. Dax says that when they got married, he was making more money than Kristen, and actually intended on signing a prenup, but didn't follow through. When we first started dating, I had more money than her, and I owned the house that I lived in, and she said to me at one point, "Would you like a prenup?" I said, "No, I don't want a prenup," but I really wanted a prenup. But just something good came over me for once, and I made the right decision. But the joke is now on her because she's become more successful than me, and has much more money than me, Dax said on Conan. Number 4, Kelsey Grammer and Camille Donatacci. Kelsey Grammer was one of the highest paid actors on television when he said "I do" to third wife Camille Donatacci. Grammer requested that a portion of his earnings during the first 4 years that Frasier was on the air be declared as separate property. After that, the following 7 years of the show would be divided 50-50 in the case of a split. After watching an interview with Grammer on daytime talk show, Donatacci learned that Grammer was having an affair. The former Playboy model and reality star then walked away with a reported $30 million in the couple's divorce settlement. Graham then later went on to quickly remarry his mistress, again without signing a prenup. Number 3, Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker. Kourtney and Travis tied the knot in a spur-of-the-moment ceremony in Las Vegas, and I'm still kind of waiting to hear whether or not it's legally binding, considering it was Las Vegas and they walked down the aisle wearing their granny's attire. According to a report by people that drew from the chapel owner Marty's recollection, I didn't know who it was until they pulled up. I advertised as 24 hours, but they wanted to make sure I was still there, Marty explained. They paid and they requested Elvis Presley, that was mandatory, he continued. I called back 5 minutes later and was like, I got an Elvis. And there they were. They came, got married, tossed the bouquet in the driveway, and danced to Elvis, the owner said. But they reportedly did so without signing a prenup. TMZ reported that the couple had previously been working on getting a document together, but they went ahead with the wedding before it all could be ironed out. Well, things are still up in the air right now, but there's still possibility for them to sign a postnup. Number 2, Madonna with Guy Ritchie. When the Material Girl married film director Guy Ritchie in 2000, neither of them wanted a prenup. 8 years later, when the pop icon was worth an estimated $500 million, the pair then got a divorce. Guy Ritchie walked away with between $76 and $92 million, as well as $60 million in assets, including the couple's 1,200-acre English estate. Madonna kept both her New York and Los Angeles homes, as well as most of her fortune. Ritchie made it like a bandit, and I'm sure she will survive on a current salary of between $50 and $100 million a year. Number 1, Katy Perry and Russell Brand. Just a few days before the famous duo tied the knot, Russell Brand was quoted saying, "I want to make our wedding just about me and her loving each other. We want to get married in front of our friends and family and keep it normal. It ain't about selling the pictures, it ain't about doing no prenup." Fast forward less than 2 years later, and Brand filed for divorce against Perry's wishes. Perry's biggest fear was disappointing her conservative and religious family, but Perry's mom now says that she, quote, thanks God every day for Perry's divorce from Brand. Brand stands to make an estimated $20 million of pop star Perry's fortune according to California state law, which is $3 million more than Brand's solo net worth. According to their divorce paperwork, the pair agreed to split their assets, and Russell waived any claim to Katy's fortune. Katy even signed the divorce papers with a smiley face. Number 10, Mike Tyson. According to a 2003 report by the New York Times, Tyson earned approximately $400 million during the first 18 years of his boxing career. But all the money in the world couldn't help Tyson. Out of the ring, he had multiple run-ins with the law, including an assault conviction that landed him in prison for 3 years. Tyson finally declared personal bankruptcy in 2003. He has devoted his time since to rehabilitating his reputation. Tyson ranked in $30 million per fight at the peak of his career, but he bled money as readily as he earned it. In 2003, the New York Times detailed his lavish spending on everything from jewelry, mansions, and vehicles to Siberian tigers. Number 9, Burt Reynolds. Reynolds first rose to prominence when he starred in television series such as Gunsmoke, Hawk, and Dan August. His breakthrough role was as Lewis Medlock in Deliverance. Reynolds played the leading role in a number of subsequent box office hits, several of which he directed himself. He was nominated twice for the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Motion Picture Musical, or Comedy. But now his love life. Burt Reynolds and Lonnie Anderson were married for 5 years, but when the two decided to go their own ways, it bankrupted the Smokey and the Bandit star. In 1993, the couple sparred off against each other in divorce court. The costly divorce proceedings forced Reynolds to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy with more than $11 million in debt. Number 8, Tyrell Owens. Tyrell Owens is an American football wide receiver for the Knights of Degen of fan-controlled football. He previously played in the National Football League for 15 seasons, regarded as one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. He made more than $7 million during his career with the NFL, but he has little to show for it. The former Dallas Cowboys wide receiver certainly enjoyed the lifestyle of a rich athlete, and he loved the attention from ladies that came with it. Owens has 4 children by 4 different women, and the child support payments of more than $40,000 a month became too much for him to handle. When he couldn't pay, Owens was ordered to perform community service, and he did that at an LA Goodwill store. Number 7, Dennis Rodman. Dennis is an American former professional basketball player. Known for his fierce defensive and rebounding abilities, his biography on the official NBA website states that he is arguably the best rebounding forward in the NBA history. Nicknamed the Word, he played for the Detroit Pistons, San Antonio Spurs, Chicago Bulls, Los Angeles Lakers, and Dallas Mavericks of the NBA. Rodman played at the small forward position in his early years before becoming a power forward. On the court, Dennis Rodman was one of the best rebounders the NBA had ever seen. And off of the court, his hard partying and cross-dressing ways frequently ended up making headlines. But despite a long and successful career as an athlete, the former Chicago Bulls champion was out of money because he stopped paying his child support. Racking up more than $800,000 owed to his third wife, he told the court the payments were leaving him broke. A judge ordered Rodman to perform 104 hours of community service for non-payment. Number 6. Brandi Glanville. Brandi is an American television personality, author, fashion designer, former model. She's best known for appearing on the reality television series The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Season 2 of The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. She also hosts a podcast called Brandi Glanville Unfiltered and has appeared on television shows Celebrity Apprentice, both the British and American version of Celebrity Big Brother, Famously Single, and My Kitchen Rules. Glanville has released 2 books, Drinking and Tweeting, and The Other Brandi Blunders, and Drinking and Dating, which became the New York Times bestsellers. But following her divorce from cheating husband Eddie Cibrian, it was said she didn't join the big reality television for the fame but for the money. At the time of her divorce, the 36-year-old mother of 2 was left penniless with no established line of credit. She was forced to ask her father to co-sign a lease for a modest house in Los Angeles. Number 5. Kenny Anderson. Kenneth is an American former professional football player who was a quarterback in the National Football League, spending his entire career with the Cincinnati Bengals. He later returned as a position coach. After playing college football for Augusta College, Anderson was selected in the 3rd round of the 1971 NFL Draft by the Cincinnati Bengals. Kenny Anderson reportedly ranked number 60 million after playing for 9 teams. But a good chunk of that dough went to divorce settlements and child support payments. His first wife, Tammy Roman, successfully challenged their prenuptial agreement and walked away with half of his assets and over $8,000 a month in child support. He also had to dole out cash for 6 other children and 2 other ex-wives. Anderson ended up filing for bankruptcy. Number 4. Lorraine Baracco. Lorraine Baracco is an American film and television actress. Known for a distinct husky voice and Brooklyn accent, she's been nominated for an Academy Award, 4 Emmy Awards, 4 Golden Globe Awards, and 3 Screen Actors Guild Awards. She began her career modeling in France and began appearing in Italian-language films in the 1980s. Baracco's English-language debut came in The Pickup Artist, which was followed by roles in Someone to Watch Over Me, Sing, and The Dream Team. Her breakthrough role was that of Karen Hill, wife of mob associate Henry Hill in Goodfellas, for which she was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress and the Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress Motion Picture. The twice-divorced actress went through a very nasty, costly custody battle with her former boyfriend Harvey Keitel. 3 years after the couple split, they went to court to duke it out over their daughter Stella. It was drawn out in court, and 5 years later, Baracco filed for bankruptcy due to the overwhelming legal fees. Number 3. Brendan Fraser. Fraser is known for his leading roles in blockbusters, comedies, and dramatic films. He gained prominence for his role as Rick in the Mummy trilogy. When he split from his wife Afton Smith in 2007, he agreed to pay her $900,000 a year in child support and alimony. But in 2013, Fraser went back to the court seeking a reduction, claiming he could no longer afford to make the monthly payments. However, his wife was not buying it and accused the George of the Jungle star of hiding his assets. Number 2. Evander Holyfield. Evander is an American former professional boxer who competed between 1984 and 2011. He reigned as the undisputed champion at cruiserweight in the late 1980s and at heavyweight in the early 1990s, and remains the only boxer in history to win the undisputed championship in 2 weight classes in the 3-belt era. Nicknamed the Real Deal, Holyfield is the only 4-time world heavyweight champion, having held the unified WBA, WBC, and IBF titles from 1990 to 1992. Evidently, Holyfield made millions and millions of dollars, knocking opponents out of the boxing ring, but his debts nearly knocked out the former heavyweight champion. Multiple divorce settlements and child support payments for at least 9 children began to eat away at his bank account. When he stopped paying child support, one of his baby mamas took him to court. Holyfield was in danger of losing his driver's license, and his 109-room, $10 million Atlanta home was in foreclosure. Rapper Rick Ross walked away with the deal of his lifetime when he plunked down $5.8 million for Holyfield's former home. Number 1. Alina Hedy. Hedy made her film debut in the British film The Clothes in the Wardrobe. This was then later followed by the mystery drama Waterland. She continued to work steadily in British and American films and on television before gaining further recognition for her lead performances in the films The Brothers Grimm and 300. Her other film credits include The Remains of the Day, The Jungle Book, Mrs. Dalloway, Ripley's Game, Imagine Me and You, The Purge, 300 Rise of an Empire, Pride and Prejudice, and Zombies. But now the drama. Her 5-year marriage to her musician husband ended in divorce in 2012, and it nearly ruined her financially. Claiming to have just $5 in her bank account, Hedy petitioned for half of the couple's $46,000 2011 tax returns because she needed the money to take care of herself and their 2-year-old son. Their marital home sold for $300,000 less than what they paid for it. furthering her money issues. Starting off at number 10, FKA Twigs and Shia LaBeouf. In December 2020, the New York Times revealed the musician FKA Twigs' lawsuit against actor ex Shia LaBeouf alleging relentless abuse, including intimate battery, assault, and infliction of emotional distress. Her account of the Times alleges horrifying physical, psychological, and emotional abuse at the actor's hands. And another one of his exes, Carolyn Foe, has come forward with similar stories as well. The lawsuit says that he kept a loaded firearm by the bed and that she was scared to use the bathroom at night lest he mistake her for an intruder and shoot her. Number 9, Sandra Bullock and Jesse James. Jesse James and Sandra Bullock split in 2010 after 5 years of marriage. While the divorce itself was quick, it was finalized just 2 months after Bullock filed to end their marriage. The circumstances leading up to it were still messy. Multiple women had come forward claiming to have had affairs with James, which she admitted to. "I never shied away from anything I did," James told Men's Journal in 2011. "I took full responsibility. I cheated on my wife. Guess what? So do millions of other men." Speaking to Dateline in 2011, he added, "I'm sorry it happened, I'm sorry it went down the way it did, but I forgive myself and now I can move on." At the time of the couple's divorce, Bullock had just won her first Academy Award for The Blind Side and had adopted a child. Number 8, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. Moore and Kutcher were together between 2003 and 2011, a lengthy relationship in terms of many Hollywood pairings. The two married in 2005 and divorced in 2015, reportedly due to Kutcher having an affair. Moore wrote in her memoir Inside Out that she tried to put Kutcher first in their relationship and agreed to bring outside people into their intimate part of the relationship at his request. "Because we had brought in a third party into a relationship," Ashton said, "that blurred the lines and to some extent justified what he's done," Moore said, alluding to allegations that he had been unfaithful in their relationship according to People. Moore also wrote that Kutcher had cheated on her a second time with a 21-year-old woman in 2011, while he was filming the movie Another Happy Day. The couple's 15-year age difference also contributed to the downfall of their relationship, Moore added. "I was a 40-year-old woman who had a big life, with a big ex-husband, Bruce Willis, and 3 children," Moore wrote. Number 7, Tiger Woods and Ellen Nordegren married in 2004 and welcomed their first child together, daughter Sam Alexis Woods, in 2007. They had another child, son Charlie Axel, in 2009. In November 2009, the National Enquirer published a story that claimed that Woods had been having an affair with a woman named Rachel, a New York City nightclub manager. Both Woods and Rachel denied the claims, but before long, more women had come forward with allegations of affairs. Though Rachel denied having an affair with Woods at first, another woman named Jamie came forward with text messages she exchanged with the golf star and claimed they had a 2-year-long affair. More women soon came forward, and Rachel eventually said she did have an affair with the golfer. "I have let my family down and I regret those transgressions with all of my heart. I have not been true to my values and the behavior my family deserves," Woods said in a statement in December 2009. "I am not without faults, I am far short of perfect, and I am dealing with my behavior and personal failings behind closed doors with my family." Tiger Woods and Ellen finalized their divorce in 2010 after almost a year of highly publicized scandal and interest in their relationship. They are now focusing on co-parenting their 2 children and responded looking friendly in December 2020. Number 6, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West married in 2014 in Italy. The two had been friends since 2008 and took their relationship public in 2011 following Kardashian's split from Kris Humphries that same year. However, things turned rocky for the power couple. Kardashian and West were married for 6 years before Kardashian filed for divorce on February 19, 2021. She cited irreconcilable differences as the reason for the couple's split and stated that no amount of counseling would help repair the relationship. In October 2021, Kardashian hosted Saturday Night Live and reportedly began dating cast member Pete Davidson. In December, the pair were photographed on their first public date night. On March 2, 2022, Kardashian was declared legally single by a court decision. Later that month, Kanye West posted a series of Instagram posts amid at Davidson referring to him as Skeet, and sharing text messages from him to the comedian saying that Davidson would never meet his children. Number 5, Kelly Clarkson and Brandon Blackstock. Kelly Clarkson was forced to file suit against her former management company, Star Trek Management Group, specifically agents Brandon Blackstock, her ex-husband, and his father. This came just 4 months after she first shocked everyone by filing for divorce after nearly 7 years of marriage. Though the legal action that's followed has certainly shed some light on why they broke up. Clarkson, however, wasn't the first to sue. That would be Star Trek, which claimed the singer owed them $1.4 million in unpaid management fees. Clarkson hit back by responding that they'd never had an official contract and that neither Brandon or his father were licensed to operate as her manager, then going on to quietly file a lawsuit in return for having defrauded her out of millions in earnings, claiming Brandon had been charging her exorbitant fees for 13 years of his unlicensed management services. As all of this is going down, they're still trying to figure out their custody arrangement and spousal support too, and Brandon's opening offer was $5 million a year from Clarkson. Number 4, Sofia Vergara and Nick Loeb. A complex legal case was filed in 2015 when Sophia's ex, Nick Loeb, sued for custody of 2 female embryos the couple had frozen in 2013. Sophia's camp argued both parties reportedly agreed to not implant the embryos without consent on both sides. Loeb claimed he'd always intended to see the embryos brought full term, and that he would waive any of Sophia's parental obligations. After the case was thrown out, Loeb refiled in 2017 in Louisiana, most likely because the state has strict laws protecting embryos. But a judge dismissed the case, saying since the embryos were created in California, Louisiana courts hold no say. Number 3, Christy, Brinkley, and Peter Cook. Supermodel Christine Brinkley and Peter Cook were married from 1996 until 2008 and shared 2 children. The pair had a high-profile split after Brinkley learned about Cook's affair with his 19-year-old assistant Diana. At the time of the divorce, Cook was 49 and Brinkley was 54. In an explosive interview with the New York Post in 2006, she'd claimed that Cook made repeated physical advances and told her that his and Brinkley's marriage was on the rocks. "I felt uncomfortable," Diana said. "I'd never been with anyone who was married. I was always on the right track. This was all new to me." She also claimed that Cook had other relationships with a young woman, saying they were all tools of his little game. Brinkley recalled the moment she was informed about the affair from Diana's stepfather, a police officer, after she gave a commencement speech in Southampton, New York on June 25, 2006. Cook received $2.1 million in the divorce settlement, but later told Barbara Walters that for him, the battle was about having to access his children rather than the money. Number 2, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Pitt and Jolie announced their engagement in 2012. By that time, they were already parents to 6 children, 3 of whom were adopted. The pair tied the knot in August 2014 in France. Their children Maddox and Pax walked their mom down the aisle. Zahara and Vivian were flower girls, and Shiloh and Knox were ring bearers. Pitt acted as a support system for Jolie after she underwent a double mastectomy in May 2013. In September 2016, Jolie filed for divorce from Pitt, citing irreconcilable differences and petitioning for primary custody of their 6 children. In October 2016, Pitt was accused of physically abusing Maddox Pitt Jolie when he was intoxicated, but he was cleared of all charges by the LA Department of Children and Family Services and by the FBI. Pitt and Jolie have since endured a long custody battle over their 6 children. Jolie's lawyer claimed that Pitt had not paid her meaningful child support, though his representation rebutted that he in fact paid her more than $1.3 million in contributions over a span of 2 years, and that Pitt gave Jolie an $8 million loan. While the judge officially declared in 2019 that their marriage was over, the details of the divorce still needed to be worked out, and the dispute over the children's custody is still ongoing. Number 1, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. In perhaps the messiest divorce in recent memory, Johnny Depp and ex-wife Amber Heard fought it out in a court in a $100 million defamation case. Depp filed a lawsuit against Heard in March 2019, alleging that a 2018 op-ed she wrote for the Washington Post applied that he was domestically abusing her during the time of their relationship. Depp claimed the article irreparably damaged his career. In January 2021, Heard countersued Depp for $100 million, a few months after her motion to move the case to California was denied. Depp asserts that he is never physically violent towards Heard, but rather that she was abusive and violent with him. But that is all. Thanks for watching.